no logoed golf bag, duffels, or luggage from non-member course.
There's a guy at Lakeside who has a Cypress Point bag, and I'm like, I know you're not a member there.
You're talking about Andy Garcia?
No, Gareth.
Oh, Andy also has a Cypress Point bag.
Andy Garcia, this is with a caveat. We need to put this at the top of the rules. Andy Garcia does not apply. Either you're a Skratch golfer, you're a member of a top 20, a member of 2 top 100s, or your name is Andy Garcia.
Exactly. Welcome back to the Vanity Index podcast. Excited to be here. It's Chad Mumm with my good friend
Wells Adams. What's up, dude?
Not too much, my man. I appreciate you letting me have a shot at that intro.
Yeah, that was good. I like that start. I feel like I
been
always do it. So
You do, and you hit me with that right before we started recording. It's like, why don't you do it? And I've never been more self-conscious in my entire life. But I'm starting to think like talent these days, Wells.
I mean,
I was
you
talent
look
yesterday.
like talent.
I was talent yesterday in a video that's going to be up on the Skratch.golf website and social media handles, which I'll tell you all about. But it was my first time really like being mic'd up and playing golf, and the instinct to just ham it up at all times was very strong. So I don't know, maybe there's a future there.
Well, I had to ham it up all the last couple of days because I was in French Lick, Indiana, playing some golf.
All right, tell me about it. Here's all I know about French Lick: that it's Pete Dye, that it's extremely hard. I've heard I believe the highest point in Indiana, there at least, is on that golf course. So it's much hillier than you would expect for Indiana. And
I believe it's the second highest place in Indiana is the Pete Dye course.
There you go. See, correcting the record. I love that.
Yep.
This is what this show is all about, like real fact-check golf knowledge. The only other note I have on French Lick before I let you get into the story is we have an employee here at Skratch. Her name is Nicole Ray. She played D1 golf at Iowa. And we were talking about you, and I said you were going to French Lick, and she said that they had their, I believe it was like a state, or it was like an NCAA, or it was like a Big 10 or Big 12 championship there, and she said it was extremely hard. So I'm looking forward to hearing how it went. So who was on your trip?
So it was my buddy Ben Higgins, who was the Bachelor years ago and one of my best friends and good golf buddies. You've met before.
Yep.
He set this whole thing up. So he got together with a golf trip company called Golf Trip AI. So he got together with French Lick because he's from Warsaw, Indiana, and so he invited all his buddies, but it was like a lot of people from the Bachelor world. So myself, Joey Grazadeh, who was just the Bachelor, and he also won Dancing with the Stars. He was there. My good buddy Dean Bell, formerly Dean Unglert, was there. Zach Clark. So it was all these people from the Bachelor world, and so we went and played. There's 3 courses that we played in French Lick. The first one was called Sultan's Run. The second one was the Pete Dye at French Lick, and then the third was the Donald Ross at French Lick. Anyways, we stayed at this crazy, amazing hotel called the Barton Springs West Hotel, which was built like in 1902. It's a huge atrium, like imagine Jurassic World when they have the pterodactyls all like living in that like big domed thing. It looks exactly like that, and then all the hotel rooms are around the big circle. So that was just really cool and definitely haunted as hell. And then there's a casino there. So like it's just like Pinehurst or Bandon, where like it's really easy to get around. They've got all these trolleys that take you from place to place. So, like, it takes you to the Donald Ross course, and then it'll take you to the casino right afterwards and take you home. And so just very, very easy. And it was like one of those things of, like, I've heard about French Lick golf, but it was cool to go experience it. And I got to say, like, you know, especially if you're close to the Midwest, like I flew into Louisville and it was like a 40-minute drive. It was so easy. So anyways, I got nothing but amazing things to say about it. We played the Sultan's Run track first. We did not get there early enough to hit balls, which I don't like doing. That's not a good start. But we met the greenskeeper afterwards, and we were like, who pissed in your Wheaties this morning? Why are all these pins ridiculously tucked? And he was like, I heard you guys were coming, and I wanted to mess with you. I'm like, why would you do that?
Oh,
we're not
no.
like we're not Scotty Scheffler over here. So the first round, okay, Chad, I'm a 3.5. Okay, maybe a little bit of a Vanity index now. The more that I'm playing out, but like I'd say like I'm a solid at least 5. I go out there. I don't think I missed more than 5 fairways, and I think I hit 12 greens, and I shot 90. All right?
Wow.
It was like I think I 3-putted everything, and a lot of it had to do with where these pins were tucked. But it was beautiful and very, very cool. And then we went and played the Pete Dye course, which is kind of, I think, their crown jewel. Mm-hmm. It's at the top of the hill, a second highest point. Love that course, but also very, very difficult. We're talking like 145, 147 slope rating. Like, it's legit. And then we did 36 the next day at the Donald Ross course, which I absolutely loved. It was such an old school golf course. It was all, greens back to front. The golf course was in front of you. Wider fairways, really big greens, but crazy undulation. And I was able to play much, much better there. So anyways, I got nothing but good things to say about French Lick, Indiana.
I guess I didn't realize that French Lick was a town. I thought French Lick was like the name of the resort that the Pete Dye course was at. But it's a big town. Shows my ignorance of the Midwest in general. It's probably the only region of the country I've never lived in. And I've really not even really played much golf there. There's so much good golf in the Midwest. We should do a trip. We should go up there and do that and head to Wisconsin and all those,
Yeah, I would love that. But what French Lick is best known for is that it's the birthplace of one Larry Bird. The hick from French Lick. So we got to see like where his house was and everything, which was very cool. I do have a video I wanted to show you.
Okay.
And so like they made this whole promo video that they're making, and so it was me and Joey versus Ben and Dean in this certain match. And what I realized, I was a little drunk. Okay, it was a golf trip. We were on the second 35, the second 18. But I realized that I am insufferable on the golf course. And I just need you to see how annoying I can be because I'm like embarrassed by this.
Okay, let's see it.
Yes, Joey! Yeah! Only does good when the camera's on.
Ben, you got a 7?
Say it louder for people. Yeah, hey, did you hear that?
Straight up, down. Partner.
Nice.
Let me get that for you. Let me get that for you. Oh my God. You take that. Yeah!
God, Ben, no way Ben's making that putt.
I told you.
That's a really good shot.
Second, the camera's on him. Great. Make sure that one's in there. Joey's gonna make it!
Hard! Come on, baby. That one is talking about being up there really.
Wow.
Yeah.
You really you bring the energy when the cameras are on.
Dude, listen, I'm a red light guy. The second that there's a camera on, I'm like, all right, let's go. But then I was watching it back and I was like, oh, I'm just annoying. Got it. Okay. Well, anyways.
I think this is good intel for when we take this show on the road. Start doing playing versions of the Vanity Index podcast IRL.
Yeah.
What game did you guys play? Did you gamble, or what was the format for the trip?
Yeah, it was like Ryder Cup style. So we had teams, and we did. First of all, is it Stableford or Stableford?
Stableford, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of modified Stableford.
Okay.
Which
is a fun format because you're never out of it. You can make a double. It doesn't, like triple. It's sort of after a bogey. It doesn't really matter, right? So it keeps you in it.
Yeah.
Incentivizes lots of risk taking because birdies are worth a lot more to you than bogeys and doubles are worth less. So
for sure.
Yeah.
So we did that, and then on the last day, we did an extra 18. A bunch of people went and shot shotguns, and I was like. One, I had a couple of beers on the course, and I was like, I'm not sure if I should go shoot anything. And I was like, I didn't come all the way out here to go shoot skeet. I'm here to play some golf. So we did another 18 at the Donald Ross, and we played 5. And we played teams, but we played we hammered the hell out of that game. And
love that.
Everyone loved the Chad special hammer. So, anyways, it was a lot of fun. Tell me about your experience. You were saying that you were hamming up for the camera for some walk and talk for Skratch.
Well, first I got to ask, who won the Ryder Cup? Which team? Was it your team that won?
I got second place.
How do you get second place in a Ryder Cup? Isn't Ryder Cup 2 teams?
It was 4 teams.
Oh, 4 teams. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And
did you win?
It was 30 of us.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that big. Wow. Did you win your singles match? Did you have a singles match? Or was it like more team Ryder Cup style?
Dude, I got beat twice, and then on the last day at Donald Ross, I shot 78 and was like the second lowest score and won.
Let's go,
one.
baby.
Yeah,
Let's
come
go.
on.
You better be the best bachelor golfer. Feel like that's a bar that we need to set for you. So
Yeah. We listen to a lot of podcasts, Chad, but have you heard about Invested in the Game, the new golf podcast from Charles Schwab?
I've heard about it, but I think you're going to tell me a little more about it.
It turns out they have like a lot of podcasts focusing on investing in the markets. Makes sense, right? Some of my favorites are Choiceology or Washington Wise, but here's the thing. They wanted to step outside of the usual financial talk and bring something that connects more clients' personal lives and interests. And yes, it turns out their clients aren't just focused on their portfolios. They've got some hobbies too, some big ones. And one of the top hobbies it's golf.
Yeah, so it turns out golf has been and continues to be a huge passion for many of Schwab's clients. That's why they've been so invested in the game for decades, sponsoring events, backing both pro and collegiate tournaments, and promoting the game in various ways. With this new podcast, they're really diving into the world of golf to bring you stories about people who've really poured their time, money, and heart into the game. Each episode features fascinating stories from folks who have made golf what it is, a challenging, rewarding, and sometimes frustrating hobby. And kicking things off, they've got some great guests lined up, including Andy Johnson from Fried Egg Golf and Dottie Pepper from CBS Sports. So if you're a golf enthusiast or just someone who appreciates a good story, this podcast is for you. Go check it out at schwab.com/thegame or wherever you listen to your podcasts. So, I've been busy. I've been missing you. I think you're almost back in LA. We're going to have this show back in the studio here before we can blink. I'm very excited about that. But I've been keeping busy. One, on the golf front, been playing a lot of the hammer game. And the last two times I played, we had a six-some. So we played left-right, which has become like a pretty fun little variation. And if you're not familiar with that game, like we talk about on the show all the time, the hammer is like my game of choice because there's action and there's stuff to do on every single hole. Just lost the Cypress flag. We'll edit that back in. We'll just put that right back up there. But so left-right is basically a variation on the hammer game where everybody tees off. It's usually a great game to play with like a big group of people. So if you got six for whatever reason, like we had a six-some, so everybody tees off and then you just sort on the, after the first shot, like who's on the right and who's on the left, and then you play it out as teams from there. And each hole's worth the certain number, and then the left team can hammer the right team, and then you just keep everybody's sort of individual totals throughout the game. And so we've now played that like 2 weeks in a row, and it's gotten real saucy. And it's like the thing that gets it saucy is at the end. We always do the re-rack on 17 and 18, which is always what kills somebody because we have a bunch of carryovers, and then someone makes a birdie, and all of a sudden there's a 20-point hole, and people feel like they got to catch up. So I think in this game we played, it was $10 a hole, and we got to 17, and it got up to 15, and then so it was there. I think there were 5 points carried over. So it was, $200 on the 17th hole, and then we raised it to 25 on 18. Immediately get hammered, and so it's a $500 hole, and I missed a 4-foot putt to lose, and so it's my long winning streak in the gambling games has come to a crashing halt. But it's been fun and we had a good time. On the talent front, coming all the way back. We were down at TPI yesterday, and they were asking about you, Wells. So we're down at the Titleist Performance Institute. They were nice enough to host myself and some of the Skratch and Sugarloaf people for a kind of a little early look at the new T-Series irons. So got to go down there and try out some of the new products coming out. I think in like late July is when they'll start hitting retail. But, as a person who's been playing Titleist irons for a long time, like they're sick. And, hard to imagine how you can improve like a kind of a bladey sort of iron. But, proof is in the pudding. Apex max height was getting up there, trying to get to like 100 feet was definitely helping. Spin was super consistent. It was a blast. So as a part of that, we did a little match at the end, and we got to do something that I was told only 2 groups have ever done before us, which is really cool. Which at TPI they have kind of like a short course that's built around. They have a giant driving range, but then they also have like a few holes. And a couple of years ago, David McClay Kidd, who designed Bandon Dunes, came in and sort of redid all the golf at TPI, and they're slowly but surely like redoing all the buildings as well. It's amazing experience. But they have apparently a composite cross-country course where you can play a full 9 holes with par 4s. There's no par 5s, but it's like par 4s and some par 3s. But you're essentially crisscrossing, across this driving range and this massive property, and with like real greens and a bunch of like double, triple greens and things like that. So we were the third group ever to play cross-country at TPI, which is pretty cool. I guess the first group was a group from Augusta who came out, which I was like, that's pretty good company. And then I guess a group of a bunch of PGA professionals from the UK, from Prestwick and Troon and all these kind of like esteemed clubs in the UK, and they had gotten to play, but we were the third group to do it. And so we decided to have a little game, and so I played a match against Nicole Ray, who's our who I mentioned earlier, played at Iowa, D1 women's golfer. We played a little game on one of the par 3s where we each had 10 shots, and there was a kind of scoring system, 1st to 3, and it was who could get a ball on the green first. So green regulation first was worth a point. Most consecutive shots on the green was worth a point, and then close to the pin was worth a point. So I got to put the mic on and ham it up on camera, and I did win all 3 points. So I felt like victorious, but also kind of bad because she works for me, and that maybe she threw it because I'm her boss, but.
Definitely.
But anyway, we had a good time. The other thing, actually, this reminded me because I was doing this, and there's a video of this, which we'll put into the show. But I have a fun story from Happy Gilmore that I had forgotten about. So when we were out on set, there's a lot of, we shot the whole movie on down at Fiddler's Elbow. All the golf stuff was kind of out at Fiddler's Elbow. And so it was like every single day for a month and a half, we were out at this golf course, and it was like, hundreds of people, and there's, movie making, there's a lot of like waiting around. And one of the PAs or like associate producers, like some, not a very senior level person on the production, was like a golf dude, or like worked at a golf course or something like that. And he was standing around while we were waiting, setting up another shot, and he had a golf tee in his hand, and he would just like throw it straight into the ground like a knife, and it would just like every single time, like boom, like right into the ground. And it's the swaggiest thing that I've ever seen anybody do. Like, I thought bouncing a ball on a wedge like Tiger was kind of the swaggiest thing you could do on a golf course. But no, I'm making a ruling. This is like official Vanity Index. Swaggiest move you can pull, not hitting a shot, is the like straight down tee throw into the ground and then put your ball on it. So anyway, so everybody's kind of watching this kid do it. And so by like a week later, everybody on the crew has just like tees in their hands and are all day just like practicing throwing it into the ground. The director was doing it. Adam learned how to do it. And so I think that, I got to practice it a little bit. And so I pulled that one out yesterday. So we got that in there.
Do you have footage of this kid doing this?
I don't have footage, but I have footage of myself doing it. So I can.
Okay, so you can do it. What's the trick?
The trick is you got to hold it on the bottom. So hold the tee kind of where it's sharp. And then you throw it straight down. And the instinct is throw it kind of in front of you. But really, to get the spin right, you got to throw it as close to your foot as possible, and that's how you get it's sort of one full rotation, and then boom, it drives into the ground. And if you do it right and you get it really straight, like you can drive it into a green. I mean, you don't have to do it in rough. You can do it on a really tight lie. Like we were playing at the Titleist course, is all this like really nice Bermuda that was like really crispy, and you can you get a sharp tee, you can get it in there, and it is a very swaggy move. So I wouldn't be surprised. I don't want to give anything away, but I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of the summer, after this movie comes out, you will see like 12 to 15 to 18 to 30-year-old men all over this country and world on golf courses trying to throw a tee in the ground. Not saying it made it in the movie, but I think it's going to – if you want to get ahead of the curve in terms of looking cool, start practicing your tee throw into the ground. And we'll put a video in the finished version of this so you can kind of see how swaggy it is. So
I got to see this. I'm going to practice that now.
You're gonna have to practice. It's like anything. You start in the rough, and then you can, once you get good at it, you can bring it to the. And it was 100% completely the first try. It didn't take me 9 tries before I got to stick the video. This is completely the first try. There's no movie magic involved.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm excited about this episode because we're gonna do something a little bit different. But it's it's something that we've been talking about doing this episode for quite a while. And I remember the day that we kind of like hammered out what this show was going to be, we went and played golf at our club, and you were like, there are these clubhouse rules that I found, and I want to talk about this on the podcast. And today's the day that we finally get to do that. It's basically, we've touched on it a little bit. We did it at Augusta, but it's like a lot of these rules about like logo wearing and what you can and can't do at private country clubs and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, this is something that I think intuitively, having gotten to play at a lot of these places, sort of picked up on, because you just never want to look like a tourist, Wells. That's my life goal. I want to look like I belong. It doesn't matter if my golf is good or bad. I want to look the part. I don't want to look like a tourist. And so once you kind of spend your time, a lot of time around that kind of upper echelon of these clubs, you kind of start to notice like who's wearing what, what logos, what shoes. You're just paying attention, you can kind of see. And so there's definitely like an aesthetic to it. And I love aesthetics. I'm interested in that. And so I was talking to somebody about like the rules of what you can wear as a tourist, basically. Like, and we'll get into it. And he sent me this list, which apparently was posted on the Maidstone locker room several years ago. And it is a list of kind of do's and don'ts for club logo wear. So we're going to get into that list in a second. But before we do that, I actually wanted to just talk about club logos in general and maybe do a little power ranking of great logos. Because that's the one thing we have in golf that I feel like gets a little underrated is every place you play, it's like there's a pro shop there, it's selling gear. There's some really cool logos out there, some great old school logos. And so I wanted to basically ask you and then put this challenge to myself, give me your top 5 logos in golf. So top 5 golf logos. Go.
Okay. I made a list. 5 Ohoopee.
That's a good one. So classic.
So Ohoopee,
onion.
yeah. It's an onion.
You going the onion logo or you going the secret logo?
I'm going the onion logo. I love the secret logo, which is like basically an old wood duck box with like bourbon in it. But Ohoopee was built on a old onion farm, and that logo is to me very, very cool and just so unique.
That's a great number 5.
Number 4, I'm going Sleepy Hollow. It's just so cool with the headless horseman, right?
Yeah, you can't beat it. Anytime you go like a mythical monster or creature, I feel like that's going to get you some extra credit points.
Up next, I'm going to go. A lot of people would say this would be number 1, but I'm going to put it at number 3. The Dragon from MPCC, Monterey Peninsula Country Club, is very, very cool.
That's a great one. That's a really
and
great
when you
one.
see that on a shirt, you're like, yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
and the
really
course
good.
is phenomenal. All right, number 2, Wingfoot. I don't know what it is about that one, but it is iconic and cool. And every time I see that on a hat or a belt, I'm like, man, that is such a nice logo.
It's a great one.
And then at number 1, this might be controversial, but I don't know if I think it is. I don't know. My favorite logo of all time is Pasatiempo. It's
great one.
It's the the greenskeeper, sleep underneath a tree
With a sombrero on.
With a sombrero on. So I don't know if it's appropriation or if it's rude. I don't know if it's uncouth or not PC to say this, but I'm sorry. Pasatiempo's logo for me will always be number 1.
That's a 10 out of 10. I think that one gets a lot of good love for good reason. I think you hear about Sleepy a lot, gets kind of brought out in that conversation. I think you can do no wrong. So, all right, I'll give you my top 5 list, and then I've got actually a list of most hipster. So I pulled the internet. We asked some questions, pulled the internet. We got a lot of the same answers. Sort of Pasa came up a lot. Wingfoot came up a lot. I'll give you mine, and then I'll give you kind of like the hipsterist ones. So I think for me, 5 would be Maidstone, which by the way looks a lot like Vineyard Vines, and remember that because that comes into play later as we get into the club rules.
Yeah.
But Maidstone, the whale is epic, and anytime you get like the year the club was founded kind of integrated into the logo, and that first number is an 18, like yeah, it's gonna be pretty good. So big fan of Maidstone to me at number 5. number 4, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say Marion.
Okay.
Because it just, like, to me, like, you immediately, it's the single most distinguishing part of that course, the wicker basket, flags, basically pin toppers. I don't know, they're not flags because they're not flags, they're wicker baskets, but the red wicker. And I think I mentioned this in our last episode, the episode we did with Paige, but do you know the reason why they're red? Did I say that on this show?
No, why?
Okay, so the reason why they're red is that during the Great Depression, they couldn't afford paint. They were trying to save money. And so when they had bought all their tractors from Toro, the tractor company, it came with extra paint. And that Toro red was what they used to keep refreshing. The original wicker baskets were yellow. And so they became red during the Great Depression to save cash because they had a bunch of extra paint to top off to touch up the tractors. So that red is actually the Toro red at Marion.
Interesting.
I'm going to go with Riviera for an inch, for just more out of embarrassment. So Riviera, very like 1970s looking design. It's kind of got a Saul Bass thing happening. He designed like the AT&T logo, the IBM logo, very kind of classic. The thing that kills me about the Riviera logo is there's a flag in the middle of it. And I've been looking at that logo my entire life and never realized that the center of the R is a pin flag.
Oh, wow. You're right.
It's like an optical illusion, like the FedEx logo that has like the arrow in it. Did you know that there's an arrow in the FedEx logo? Like, I
it's
didn't
always
learn that.
pointing forward.
I didn't learn that till I was like, I don't know, like 25, and I've been staring at that logo my whole life. But this one, especially in my own backyard, there's the Riviera logo just for the negative space usage.
God, now seeing it, totally, it's a flag.
Totally. How could we ever miss it? That's what I
know.
I learned this like 4 months ago, and it's blown my mind ever since, and maybe come full circle on the quality of that logo. So the next one, I'm going to go with Bay Hill, just because I think the Arnold Palmer umbrella is so timeless and classy. It's just such a specific look. You immediately like it. Unlike all these other are so specific to a golf course. I think the umbrella is so specific to a person in Arnold Palmer, and Arnold Palmer is just like the king, ultimate swag, coolest guy in golf history ever in terms of style. And the fact that his sort of aesthetic and his personal brand is so wrapped up in that golf course, and it's just so instantly iconic. I feel like that. I always love seeing that logo on TV when they play the Bay Hill, and so anyway, big fan of the Bay Hill umbrella. And actually, my number one favorite is the White Bear Yacht Club logo.
Wow.
And that one it's a blue flag with a white bear, and then the Yacht Club logo, and it's a yacht flag. So you get like all this double meaning, but it's just like really classy, really clean. And so I'm going to go White Bear Yacht Club as my number one.
That's amazing. We didn't have a single crossover there.
I was going to say like Cypress and Augusta just because but I feel like Augusta is so, because it's one, they have like multiple logos. But, the map and flag is truly iconic. I think if you're just going for, like, mainstream appeal, I think the map and flag is incredible. But I just see it so often, and so it's just kind of like I feel like it's too overexposed. And then Cypress is great, but as you see here, all my decorations are falling off. But, yeah, Cypress is great. I think you need Cypress Point Club in the actual logo itself. I think that the font really brings it to life.
Yes.
If you just use the tree, it doesn't quite do it for me. I think that the font just completely like takes you back to that time period, and I would put Cypress as number one if it was always included the name of the course, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's just the logo. So anyway, White Bear Yacht Club, number one for me.
Can I give you a honorable mention?
Absolutely.
I don't know how to pronounce this one, but I went and looked online. Is it the Myopia Hunt Club?
Oh, yes.
I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Is it Myopia?
It is, yep. Myopia Hunt Club. Yep.
It's a fox with like a gun, and it just, it has nothing to do with golf, but it's just so cool. But
that is really cool.
But I've never played there. I didn't know how to pronounce it, so I couldn't put it in because I didn't want to sound stupid. But I do really like that one.
That's a really good one, too. I totally agree. All right, so I asked our resident golf hipster, Ian Gilly, who's founder of Sugarloaf Social Club, to to one up my list. I sent him my list and I said, like, okay, you know way more about golf logos and golf courses. You've played more places than I have. What would your I didn't ask him for his top 5. I just said, what do you think are the coolest logos in golf? So he sent me immediately within like 2 seconds this massive list and a bunch of screenshots. So I'm going to show you, and I just want you to react to these. Okay. So we're going to look at these in real time. So, all right, first up, it is the Friar's Head logo. Can you see this?
Yeah, so it's a flag with a red diamond and then a red and white flag underneath it.
I've never been. Have you been to Friar's Head before?
No.
I've never been to Friar's Head either. I like this. My question is this how the flags are? So are they actual Friar's Head flags? Is it double like this? If so, I'd say this is a top 10 worthy kind of logo, kind of a la Marion. All right, next up, Tot Hill Farm. If there was ever a logo, this might win the award for logo that goes the hardest. Look at this one.
Yeah.
Look at this one.
Yeah, it looks like it's either a barbecue restaurant or like a biker gang. You know, like it should be on the back of a leather jacket.
Yeah, I was saying like definitely, or like a dive bar in Austin, Texas that only plays like that kind of blues rock, you know?
Yeah.
But this play, here's another just random point. Where do you think this golf course is?
I gotta think it's in Texas because of the cow. I'm gonna go with Texas.
It's in North Carolina.
Okay.
It is a Mike Strantz design, so the designer of Tobacco Road, and it's kind of part of that Tobacco Road family. So really over the top, crazy design, crazy like hole shapes and challenges, and now it is absolutely a course on my bucket list. I've got to get out there. I got to get something with that logo. Now, I don't know if I'd wear that logo. I'd put it on a T-shirt. I think it'd be pretty banging. But yeah, this one wins style points for sure. Okay.
For sure.
This one, understated, but I really like. Bald Peak Colony Club. Here you go.
Nice. Very simple.
Very simple. It's a little bit like it's giving kind of Burning Tree to me.
Mm-hmm.
I like the 1921. I feel like the sans serif kind of Futura-esque font really brings this to life. I like the snow-capped peak. Here's another one kind of coming at you. The Army-Navy Golf Club. Classy.
Wow.
Just a bald eagle holding the world up.
That's America, baby.
As American as it can be without an American flag on it. And at least, you could have gone with just an American flag or the Army and Navy logos. But no, I think the kind of a little homage to the presidential seal here, pretty sweet for a golf club. You could also see a tackier version where it was holding like a golf ball. I'm glad they didn't go in that direction. So
yes.
All right, here's another one that I'd never seen before, but I'm obsessed with now. So Skeene Valley Country Club. Come on. How good is this?
It's Bigfoot. It's a Yeti.
It's a Yeti with red eyes carrying a pin flag. And apparently the story behind this logo was that the club, I don't know if this one counts actually because Skeene Valley has another logo, like a main logo. This is kind of their secondary logo. But apparently in the 70s, the owner of the club claimed that he saw a Sasquatch-esque creature wandering through the woods off one of the holes. And so it became part of the club lore. And now they have this very, very metal Yeti logo that I would absolutely have on a head cover, like no question.
Yes.
I feel like something like this would go great on like a really nice like cashmere hoodie, like one of those like Grayson cashmere hoodies or something. Just a little bit of high-low coming at you. But I'm a big fan of this one. All right. Lakeside Park, a different Lakeside. We talk a lot about Lakeside Golf Club in Los Angeles, yours and my home club, and so many of our guests as well. But this is a different Lakeside. This is in Richmond, Virginia. This is Lakeside Park Club. I mean,
a bear in a canoe.
Would you consider that a canoe? That seems more like a rowboat. I don't know. I feel like can't really tell. I think canoes are meant to be sort of bi-directional. I think that's more like a little John boat, Wells.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
As someone who grew up on the coast, I would expect you to know your boats a little bit better. But
it's a schooner. I'm sorry.
Here's what I like about this one. I mean, one, you've got an anthropomorphic animal, which clearly is quite appealing to me. You got kind of a swagged out boat. It's not a canoe, but it's some kind of boat. It's got a little burgee on there, flag. And then it's got like a vintagey looking date. And again, that starts with 18. So this kind of putting it in the Maidstone camp. One I had never seen before, but one I'm super into. All right, up next is the Everglades Club. Before I show you this one, can you take a guess at what the Everglades Club logo is going to be?
It's like an alligator.
Oh, how'd you know?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is like, it's a little Lacoste-esque, but I feel like the vertical symmetry here really, like Everglades Club, this is something you could put on like a dad cap. Like imagine this on like a white dad hat. I think that's as elite as it gets. Like this is one of those logos that actually weirdly looks better on clothes and head covers, I think, than it would even just like looking at it here on the screen. But I'm currently obsessed. I gotta go play this place. I think Everglades Club, I believe, is down in like Palm Beach, and I think it's like the most exclusive club in Palm Beach. Like it makes Seminole look like, I don't know. I mean, I know Seminole is really hard to get into, but I think Everglades is as hard or maybe harder. So okay, that's Everglades Club. Up next, this one. Oh my God, Wells. This is the Royal Worlington and Newmarket Sacred 9 course, which I'm going to go on a limb and tell you this course is not in the United States.
Yeah, also, really long title.
Royal Worlington and Newmarket Sacred 9. Here you go. Look at that. It is a pink jug.
It's a pitcher.
It's a pink pitcher. And I've been told under good authority that pink pitcher, hang on, let's see. It's designed, I don't know, where is it? Okay, so the pink pitcher's got a fun story behind it. Basically, it's these beautiful pink jug logos from the historic Royal Worlington and Newmarket Golf Club identify the iconic pink jug from which players enjoy a one-of-a-kind adult beverage after their round.
Oh.
What could it be? Is it communal? Is it like drinking from the Stanley Cup? Like, do you get to drink out of it? Is it like, or do you pour it in a cup? And then what do you think's in that cocktail? I have to know.
Yeah, like, do you think it's like a clear pitcher, but it's really like a red drink, like a sangria maybe, or a Bloody Mary of sorts?
Maybe. I don't know. The light pink kind of implies something that's milky for whatever reason. I don't know. Like something kind of cloudy.
Yeah.
Like a horchata. Like a British horchata.
Yeah, they got
British
a lot of horchata over
cherry
at Royal Worthington and Newmarket Sacred 9.
This is definitely some Pim's Cup variety.
Yeah.
If I had to venture a guess. But I now want one of those drinks, and I want that on a golf bag because it's so matte and so kind of simple. Like it looks like clip art. I mean, it's probably designed in like the 1700s or something. But anyway, I'm obsessed with that one. All right, here's another one. We got keeping in the anthropomorphic animals, the Loxahatchee Club. Loxahatchee. Look at this. We got a little smiling turtle who's a golfer and also a Native American. So feels like I don't know, just a nice happy turtle. And then as we said earlier, White Bear Yacht Club, just 10 out of 10.
That is great. Yeah.
I mean, it's 10 out of 10. Honorable mention, by the way, to Sand Hills. Have you played Sand Hills?
Where is that?
I think it's Nebraska. I'm going to be really embarrassed if it's not in Nebraska.
Then no, I haven't.
Hold on.
I played Snake River in like Montana, and it looked a lot like this.
Yeah, it is in Nebraska. I can't believe I didn't know that. I've never played it, but everyone who does says it's great. But I do love the kind of brand, like very subtle S&H, but it also fits for the kind of cattle country. So it's like it's like a brand like that for a modern logo. I think that one's pretty good. So all right. So that's our logo power ranking, and definitely want to hear from all of our listeners and viewers like their favorite logos, because if there's one that we're missing, there's got to be some like great Muni logos out there that we're missing. So if you've got a better logo than one of these, I want to hear them. But now we're gonna get to I've been literally looking forward to this, Wells, for 6 months since we decided to do this show.
Yeah.
So this is I'm very excited about this. So I'm gonna pull up. This is I think maybe the first time that anyone's really publicly talked about these rules.
Yeah. Are we gonna get in trouble for doing this?
No. I mean, maybe. Okay. I don't know. I don't think Johnny Chop is a real person. So I think we're okay. Okay. So the backstory, as I said earlier. So there's this like copy pasta that gets taught like pasted around. And I was having a conversation with Scott Warfield, who works at the PGA Tour, He's like runs the kind of gaming and gambling and stuff. He's on their media team. He's an awesome guy. He's a member at Old Barnwell, by the way, which we played and had a great time at. But I was talking to him about how many logos can you wear at one time, and he sent this to me, and I thought it was hilarious, and I sent it to like a few other people. And there's a couple people who've seen it before, so it clearly like gets around. And I've asked people about it, and I'm like, hey, have you seen these? And they say, oh yeah, but people who haven't, they love it. Okay, so here's what it is. It is a list of rules. It's called the Johnny Chops Logo Guidelines, and apparently it was posted in the Maidstone men's locker room. And so it starts like this
on May 7th, 2019.
2019. The specific date, I have to believe this is real. But whoever came up with this. I want to know who Johnny Chop is. We got to find out who this person is. We have him on the show.
Yeah.
So if you're Johnny Chop and you're listening to this, we are inviting you right now onto the Vanity Index podcast. Okay, here we go. So this all starts with 3 exemptions. 1, Skratch or better. So none of these rules apply to you if you're a Skratch or better. Okay, so
isn't your life good enough if you're a Skratch player?
You don't even have to worry about these rules because your game's going to speak for itself. The other, if you're a member of a top 20 club, which, if you're lucky enough, these rules don't apply. And then if you're a member, I guess, of 2 top 100s. Now, I don't know if we're using the Golf Digest ratings or the Golf Magazine ratings. I'm going to go ahead and say Golf Digest. Okay. So when we're going to start it off. There's a lot of rules here, by the way. There's 49 of them. So here we go. We're going to get into them kind of quick. Okay, when you're not a member of said club. So this is kind of an assumption that you're a guest somewhere and you're not a member.
Yeah.
The first rule is you must play it to wear it.
So if your mom goes to some country club and buys a shirt for you, you can't wear that.
You can't wear it unless you're Skratch or better.
Okay. Yeah.
You can't wear that, which I completely agree with. I think with the exception of Masters gear, which we'll get into Masters gear, there are lots of kind of detailed notes on Masters gear in this sacred text that we're reading from here.
Yeah.
But I do think that other than Masters gear, I'd say also like tournament courses or tournament logos like Waste Management or something. You can bring that stuff back for friends. But if you're wearing around a Pine Valley shirt and you didn't play Pine Valley, I think that probably.
Yeah. If nothing else, for the moment you step on the first tee and someone says, "Oh, nice Pine Valley shirt. What did you think of it?" and you're like, "Oh, I've never played it." That's embarrassing. Can't do that.
Can't do that.
Yeah.
Okay. So the number 2, this is where we get really specific. No more than 2 logos showing on the golf course at any given time.
Okay.
So think about this. Hat, shirt, and belt with 3 different non-member clubs at the same time from your most recent unaccompanied boondoggle. Too aggressive.
Yes, I agree with this.
All right. Number 3, no more than 1 logo showing off the course. And their example here is poolside with the MPCC Dragon hat and a Hoopy t-shirt. That's unfair.
Too much. Okay.
Number 4, don't wear 2 of the same logo unless you're a member of said course. This one I feel like people are guilty of all the time. And I'm not saying I subscribe to all of these rules, but I actually am saying that I kind of subscribe to most of these rules. I feel like this is kind of intuitive. If you're showing up at a course where you're not a guest and you've got 2 of the same logo on, you've got a Cypress hat and a Cypress polo, it's kind of like, you're not a Cypress member, mix it up, put a different logo in there. You can wear the Cypress hat all you want. You can wear the Cypress polo, but don't do them at the same time. Don't stack them up. It looks like you're a member. And I feel like that's a little bit of we're entering faux pas territory here with that. Number 5, as a guest, don't wear the host logo. This we refer to as the t-shirt of the band to the concert rule. How do you feel about that?
I don't know if I agree with this one because I think that this is a little bit of a nod of appreciation for coming to the place. I bought it last time you took me out and I wanted to wear it here. If I brought someone out to Lakeside and they wore a Lakeside hat or something, I'd be pumped about it.
I would be pumped about it too. I think this kind of maybe I could get rid of this one. I think there's 2 definite exceptions to this. One, if it's on a overnight trip. So if you're at a Hoopy or Pine Valley or you're staying anywhere in cabins, and the day 2 you're wearing logo merch from the club pro shop, absolutely that's fine because you're there. You got multiple days. I think if you, as you mentioned in your hypothetical, bring someone out and the next time they're a guest, they wear your club logo, it's a nice homage. I think if it's you bought it in the pro shop several minutes before the tee time, it could be a little thirsty, but actually I'm totally fine with this. I agree with you. I'll allow this one. Okay, here's rule number 6. Don't wear it if you're within 50-mile radius of your home club. So this is like an example. They gave an example that's very specific. There's a lot, by the way, there's a lot of clues in this document that make me think that this person who wrote it, Johnny Chop, is from the state of Georgia. There's a lot of like Atlanta-related references. And this person who grew up in Atlanta, I just have a feeling I might know this person. I don't know who it is, but I wouldn't be shocked if I do.
Are you Johnny Chop?
God, I wish I was that smart. Here's the example. Again, the rule is don't wear it if you're within 50-mile radius of your home course. But so Peachtree Golf Club, you're not a member of it. To Druid Hills, which you are a member. So those are within 50 miles of each other. So it's this. The note here is it's disrespectful to the home course staff, especially if the home course is not highly ranked. So, I think it's like if you're, I would think about it like if we're at Lakeside, and I'm wearing like a Bel Air logo or an LA Country Club logo, which by the way, I bought an LACC visor in a really cool kind of like Carolina blue color. And I wore it at Lakeside once, and I felt really bad. I didn't even know this is before I knew about all these rules. I just felt like, it seems like disrespectful to my own club. LACC is like a top 20, and I was like, this feels, I don't know, felt wrong. So I feel like I could wear the LACC logo out somewhere else, but not at my home club. Even though I think I like Lakeside better, obviously.
I fair enough. I get it. I'm not sure if there's a single like superintendent or greenskeeper that's going to be like, screw you, dude. I can't believe you're wearing. I don't think that goes through their head, you know.
No.
But I don't disagree with it. But I'm trying to think of. I see people wearing Riviera hats at our club a lot.
Yeah. I think it's more. I think it'd be more your home club. So, like, I think it doesn't apply. Like, if you're a guest at Lakeside, you're wearing a Riviera hat, and you're not a member of Riviera, I don't think it really matters. I think it's more for your home club. You're wearing a nearby, higher-ranked logo to your home club, I think could maybe be seen as a little disrespectful. But this one we could quibble with. I have noticed this kind of with my own, wearing of that LACC visor. It resonates for me. All right, here's one of my favorite ones, and this one I absolutely think is true. So this is like, if we're going to do a social cut, it's this one. So rule number 7, sum total of course rankings must be more than 20. Here's your example. Don't wear Pine Valley and Cypress at the same time. That would be 1 + 3 = 4. 4 is less than 20. Can't do it. Faux pas.
I don't understand this. Explain this to me.
It's like, to me, if you're not like Jimmy Dunn and clearly a member at all of these like top 20 courses.
Yeah.
And you're
or
just
Ken Griffey Jr.
Or Ken Griffey Jr., yeah. You really like, it's a little thirsty. It comes across as like, I play a lot of top 100 courses. I'm like a golf tourist. If you're showing up and you're tactless enough to wear like a Pine Valley and like the Augusta, the ANGC logo or something from the pro shop because you played Augusta, and you've got Cypress on or something like that. I think if you're going to wear like something from Pine Valley, you should, if you need another club logo, it should be something a little more hipster, a little more boutique, an interesting court, like a Maidstone or some other place. You can stack them up, but if it's like a bunch of top 10s all at the same time, I think that gets to be a little gauche, Wells, in my opinion.
Fair enough.
Okay, so
I guess what I don't understand is the 1 + 3 = 4. So is Pine Valley number 1, Cypress is number 3, and then it's
exactly.
4?
That adds up to 4. Yeah. So if it's like Augusta and Pine Valley, that's 1 and 2, that's 3, etc. All right. So here's number 8. When you're a tourist, don't wear a recently played top 100 to another top 100 that's within the same town that you're not a member of. So this example, sort of Shinnecock hat to National Golf Links, and not a member of either. I think this kind of goes back to rule number 6, just kind of general respect when you're a tourist. I think that kind of makes sense. I think that this one also is pretty specific to kind of like Shinny and National, because they're literally neighboring golf courses. So it sort of feels like you shouldn't do that there. But anyway, so number 9, this is another fun one. So this is called the visible to rule. Okay. Here's the example. So if vest is A, polo cannot also be A. Example: pulling off Friar's quarter zip to reveal Friar's head polo.
Okay. You can't double them up.
You can't double them up.
I agree with this one, actually.
Because you're going to take off the outerwear, and if you've got another logo underneath that's the same club, you're like, oh boy. It's like, again, none of this applies if you're a member. So this is if you're a member at Friar's Head or something, or Hoopy, you can wear as many of that logo as you want. None of these rules apply.
But maybe this is the loophole for wearing more than 2 logos at the same time. Because if you're wearing a Friars Club pullover and then a Bel Air polo and then a Riviera belt,
that's right.
You only see 2 at the same time.
Visible 2.
Visible 2. Okay, I got it.
This is the visible 2 rule.
Yep. Okay.
So this one, rule number 10. These rules all don't apply during an impromptu range session at your home course, i.e., you're just like pulling random gear out of your locker. Which I can, I think that's fine. Makes sense.
Fair.
Only at range sessions, maybe a little E9. But here's where this list really gets fun. So we're entering into the Masters gear section, which is one of my favorites. So Masters gear, ? Yes, under the following circumstances. 1,
love it.
You are under 18 years old.
Okay, if you're a child.
2, you are over 65 years old. 3, yard work, lake, soccer games, etc. Just never on a golf course. And it says ANGC gear obviously different. Now, we talked about this. We talked about this during our Masters episode. And I feel like the only time you can wear Masters gear when you're playing golf is during Masters week. But as soon as it's the Monday afterward, it only applies to like non-golf related activities. So again, yard work, soccer game, going to the lake, going to the beach. Pull it out, wear it, but just not on the golf course. Feels like, like it just, I don't know. It's a faux pas to me.
I disagree with this one wholeheartedly. If you went to the Masters and you're going to go play golf and you need a polo, to me it's fine. I think it's very funny that you say you can only wear it during Masters week. But here's the thing. I'm not playing golf during Masters week because I'm watching golf during Masters week.
That's a good. Listen, I don't make the rules, Wells. I just read them.
Listen,
I just read
Johnny
them on podcasts. I just read them on podcasts. All right, here we go. So number 12, must play more than one round to flex any single item over $300. So no cashmere quarter zip from Maidstone if you've only played it once. This one I kind of disagree with. One, thanks to inflation, there's a lot more inflation since 2019. I feel like you might have to revise this to like $500 now. But
yeah,
like if you play an amazing golf course and you want to buy a really nice cashmere hoodie and you're paying for it yourself, go nuts. In my opinion, I don't agree with this one.
Yeah. Also, you might not get invited back to some of those like really exclusive clubs. So you got to, strike while the iron's hot. I think
that's right. I mean, listen, if there was ever an ethos of this podcast, it's we're gonna want to try to be invited back. So
yeah,
you're never assuming you're never getting the invite back because you're trying to have a good time. You're trying to make trying to be great guests. Being great guests is sort of a core ethos of I think both of our identities. So. Anyway, all right. So number 13, moving along. This one, we have an Ohoopee story related to this. So number 13 is no logoed golf bag, duffels, or luggage from non-member course.
Well, I am. I am. Well, my golf bag's right here, and so I have an Ohoopee head cover.
Head covers are fine, but we're talking about golf bag, duffels, or luggage.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, that is weird, though. Like, why would you buy, there's a guy at Lakeside who has a Cypress Point bag, and I'm like, I know you're not a member there.
You're talking about Andy Garcia?
No, Gareth.
Oh, okay. Andy also has a Cypress Point bag, but Andy can pull anything off.
Andy Garcia, this is with a caveat. We need to put this at the top of the rules. Andy Garcia does not apply. Either you're a Skratch golfer, you're a member of a top 20, a member of 2 top 100s, or your name is Andy Garcia.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I think the logo luggage can be, I think that's a bit of a faux pas. I would maybe make a slight exception for like a shoe bag, because that just feels like a nice frivolous thing that would be fun to get at a really nice course. But interestingly, so when we were at Ohoopee, not that I was asking to buy an Ohoopee bag, but they had some really sick like Ohoopee Mackenzie bags. And so I just asked the guy in the pro shop about it. He's like, oh, yeah, you're not allowed to buy one of those unless you're a member. So you actually have to. They won't even sell you one unless you're a member, which I think is pretty cool.
I agree.
All right. So rule number 14, outing shirts in the garbage. So that basically means like if you get invited to an outing at a place and it's got a corporate logo on it, like on the sleeve, that's trash. Throw it away.
Okay. I agree with that.
You know, you get a lot, and I love, I get invited to a lot of stuff. I've played in some pro-ams. You always get like the corporate logo on it, and it's just right to the giveaway bin. Like, see you later.
I agree.
So, sorry. Here's another one. So bag tags expire after 30 days. Golf bag shouldn't look like a Christmas tree.
Yeah. I agree with this one. Our good friend Andrew Santino collects freaking bag tags like they're going out of style, and I'm always like, what's happening over here? There's way too much stuff. But here's the thing that I have the Ohoopee one. That's the only guess one I've got. But it's not because I want to keep it on there. It's because I can't get it off.
It's permanent.
It's permanent. I have to get like pliers and like cut it off, and I don't have that with me.
Yeah, that's a real statement. The Ohoopee one is like it's literally like it's bound on there and like in this piece of metal, and you would have to like either cut it with some kind of metal clipper, or like pry it apart with pliers. So respect to Ohoopee for really getting it on there. But yeah, I agree with this one too. Like, you see a lot of like people out there. It's a real good sign for like a mark if you're playing a gambling game, if they've got like 87 bag tags dangling around, which I would put Andrew Santino in the mark category as far as Vanity indexes are concerned, and we'll have to get him on the show to argue with me about that. But okay, so moving on. No logo rain gear from non-member club. What do you think about this one?
I'm fine with it. To me, rain gear, I don't even know if I've ever seen logoed rain gear. I just always have seen FootJoy and Callaway, and like that's really kind of all it is. So this one doesn't bother me.
This one doesn't bother me either, because also most of the time when you're buying rain gear, you're doing it because it's raining and you didn't expect it to be, and you don't have rain gear. And so that actually, to me, is like it's got a story. I think the other thing you could probably make as an exception to this whole list of rules is if there's like a good story behind it. And so if you're invited to play at Cyprus or something, and you're expecting, good weather, and it's like coming down sideways, and you buy Cyprus rain gear, and you spend $1,000, because I'm sure it's extremely expensive, because all rain gear is like the most expensive thing you could buy in golf. I feel like that is a great story, and if you went out and played in the rain, like you deserve to be able to wear that logoed rain gear. That's my opinion. Okay, here we go. 17, custom golf shoes. No. Unless you live in the villages.
I don't know what that means.
I think it's like golf shoes that are that have logos on them. So I've really only seen this at like, I think Sleepy Hollow has logoed golf shoes, and I think Pine Valley does as well. Where there's like, it's like they're always like FootJoy Premiers or something, and there's like a logo on the kind of heel. I don't know. I disagree with this. I think that's kind of swaggy.
How do you feel about the FootJoy, the Premiers? You can get the monogram. Like my brother has his initials on the heel. How do you feel about that?
I think that's fine.
Okay.
I think I mean, dude, shoes are kind of like A1 for expressing yourself, and whatever you're wearing, it kind of take an outfit to the next level. So I'm all for monogram shoes. This actually really quickly reminds me of a funny story about a very exclusive private club on Long Island that is like old school as it gets. Like people came over on the Mayflower kind of thing, like very hard to get into. And apparently a member was trying to join there, or a prospective member was trying to join. And after playing with a bunch of the people on the board, they sort of pulled him aside and said, I think the guy's name was like Frank Johnson or something. And they said, listen, sir, this club is really about understatement, and we really don't want you kind of showing off. And we noticed that you have monogrammed golf shoes. And he's like, these are FootJoys. The FJ is for FootJoy, not my name. And so that's just kind of how fancy this place is. I also heard kind of a second story that there's a lot of billionaires and very affluent families who are members at this course that have a special car at their like Hamptons house that they drive to the club because they don't want to be seen rolling up in like a Escalade or like a Mercedes. They'll like have a beater car to drive to this course, just like literally just to go in, because they don't want to roll in like the Bentley or the Rolls Royce because it's tacky. So anyway,
man, that's peshy for sure. And also the aforementioned Clint Eastwood, he drives in an old crappy Mercedes that he's had since, I don't know, the 80s.
There's nothing like Pesci's car, though. I mean, Pesci's cream Crown Vic, pretty great. Okay, moving along. White shorts. This one, the caveat is you must be Skratch to wear white shorts.
Yeah, I assume this goes with white pants as well.
I think so. Yeah. I also feel like it's 2019. This was written 2025. Maybe things are slightly different on this. I don't think it's any better. I think white shorts. I don't know. White pants could be a little bit like you could look like a European Tour player, I think, in white pants. But white shorts that's maybe a bridge too far. So this 19, keeping in the shorts kind of category, logo on shorts. And so the writer Johnny Chop calls this the tramp stamp.
Yeah.
And it does name some exceptions here. So National Golf Links gets an exception. I don't know why that is. Maybe there's a good logo, but anyway, logo on shorts. I kind of agree. Number 20, logoed umbrella from non-member club. This one, like, he doesn't seem to have a lot of conviction. He says preferably not. But my thing about like the logoed umbrellas is like, I remember in the Masters in 2022, I believe, that was when Scotty won. It was like really, really rainy on like one of the days, and Scotty was getting a lot of crap because he has this like really kind of hideous like black Nike vest that looks like a trash bag or something that he always wears when it's raining. But Brooks Koepka was in the group with him, and he had a Nike Vaporfly umbrella that was like 10 years old. And I thought that was kind of awesome because Nike hasn't made golf clubs in like 5 years, and he had like a 10-year-old Vaporfly umbrella. And I just thought that was kind of cool if like one of the best players in the world literally playing in the Masters is just pulling out like any old umbrella and is like fine with it. I think you shouldn't worry too much about your umbrella.
He still plays the I think the Nike 2-iron or something too.
He does, the Vaporfly 2-iron, which is, and so does Tony Finau, which is kind of crazy. And apparently there's only like a few left. Like,
yeah, I bet.
And so they're like, there's been some scramble about like finding extras and buying spares. Okay, so number 21, Crystal Rocks glass. Did you have dinner at the club? If not, that's a no.
Okay, I'm fine with it.
Okay, can't wear National Golf Links or Maidstone in the airport. It looks like Under Armour or Vineyard Vines from a distance. Bad enough that you're flying commercial.
Oh, Johnny Chop.
Oh, man, I've broken this rule a lot.
Yeah.
Mostly flying commercial. All right, number 23, custom yardage book from a non-member club. No. I don't know if I agree with this. I feel like yardage books are one of those like pieces of personal swag. You're going to like pull it out on every single hole. If you have a cool story behind it, I think yardage books are like totally A-okay, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen enough of these to really care about it. I think that yardage books should just be personalized. Mine's a leather one with my initials on it, and I think that's cool.
Yep. All right, here's the best one, I think, in the whole list. No member logos. Example, Pine Valley Shield only. Never Stolen Valor.
Yeah.
You can't wear a member logo if you're not a member. And we're talking about the actual members only. So, like, if you're not familiar, Pine Valley has a members-only Pine Valley logo. And then so does Augusta. That you can, if you play Augusta, there's a whole different stuff in the pro shop. If you're like a guest and you play, there's a whole different logo. It's not the Masters logo. It's like an ANGC logo. It's really cool. If you wear that, people know that you actually played Augusta, not just been to the Masters. But then there's an even more exclusive logo that's only for members. And if somehow you get your hands on that, you can't wear that. Like not unless you're a member. Next one, no warring tribes. Don't mix Indian logos.
Okay. All right. Yeah, smart.
It's like kind of smart.
I don't want to get canceled.
You can't bundle like-kind logos. So no Baltusrol and Wingfoot, no Cypress and Kiowa, no Friars Head and LAGC. I think that's right. You know, Friars and LAGC both have the kind of waving flags.
Yeah.
You know, Cypress and Kiowa, it's kind of like a tree. I like this one. I think that's practical because it's going to maybe look like you thought they were the same logo, which would also be breaking another one of the rules of visible too. You know, so here's another one. So swim meets. So it basically says support your club, not a top 100 you can never get into. I don't really understand this one, so I'm just going to move on. Here we go. You can't wear a logo white hat with a blazer if not a member of said club. Most especially in the airport, flexing as a non-member top 100 on your way to an unaccompanied round in the Hamptons is egregious.
Agreed.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
This one could be controversial, but I like it. Must break 90 at Pine Valley to wear Pine Valley.
I think if you're playing Pine Valley, you're probably good enough to break 90, no?
It's the hardest course in the world, probably. But, yeah, I think this is – look, I don't think this is one that you can be super hard and fast with. No one's going to come and check your scorecard.
Yeah.
But I do think it's fun if you do get invited to Pine Valley and you do break 90, you're like, I'm going to go ham in this pro shop.
Yeah.
Which you would anyway if you broke 90 at Pine Valley. So, Okay, here we go. So during a member guest tournament, your choice of attire should be obvious. If you're the member, represent your club. If you're the guest, represent your home club. The only exception, which is not applicable during the final round, is gear from a mutual golf trip together or a host gift. I like this one.
I also think that you can wear the club that you're playing at stuff as well in honor of it, you know?
Yeah, I like that too. I think especially if it's a gift from the host or you're sort of like matching because you're going to try and get in the head of the group you're playing in the final, that final 9 match before the shootout.
And a lot of times at these member guests, there's a bunch of swag that you get when you get there, and so for the second day, you might be like, "I'm going to wear this shirt that they gave me or whatever."
Absolutely. Okay, here we go. We're getting close to the end here. So wearing 2 public top 100s at the same time is grotesque. The strict exception is wearing a combo during the actual trip, which was funded by someone else out of respect for the host. So, for example, you can't wear a Bandon and an Old Mac logo while on campus. So I think this one's I don't know if I agree with this one because it's if you're paying the kind of money to go play a public top 100, I feel like you should be able to wear that logo. I think this is more for the private club world. So Johnny Chop got this one wrong in my opinion.
Yeah,
we'll have to get him to excise this from the list. Okay, here we go. Bucket hats. They're okay if you're caddying for a friend and or you've had skin cancer, and or you're over 60, and or you're 200 plus pounds and under 5'8". Otherwise,
so that's Michael Collins. I think.
Oh, poor Michael Collins. I don't know. He might satisfy the. I don't know how much Michael Collins weighs, but he might be under 5'8".
I think he is.
He's also a caddy, like a well-known caddy. So
that's
feel like
why it works. Yeah,
that works. Yeah, and then as always, Skratch golfers are exempt from guidelines, so you can bucket hat all you want. Yeah, Joel Damon, you're totally fine.
I have a theory too. Like the dumber the hat the guy's wearing, the better golfer he is.
Yeah, Sheldon, or not Sheldon, Skyler.
Skyler, yeah. He wears this huge freaking sombrero, and I'm like, I don't even know how you get your club back there, but he goes and wins the club championship. So.
That's right. Yeah, go anytime you're shooting 67 or 66, and you got a stupid hat on. Like that's actually that's a real flex. Like that's
yeah.
This is this is why Skratch are better.
That's fair.
Okay, so this one is actually a great rule. This is just a great life rule, actually. So Johnny Chop got this one right. So never call around your original point of contact. So here's an example. Your friend invites you to join him on a golf trip hosted by someone you've never met. Over 3 days, you become fast friends with the host, but he doesn't expressly offer to host you in the future. You never initiate and or solicit a future round without express written notice to your friend that made that initial introduction.
Yes.
I think this is just like, don't go around people. If you got invited out, then you're kind of angling to go get back on. This one,
I
think
it's good manners.
Just good manners, good etiquette. So this one, can't wear your own boat logo. So, if you, Wells, owned the SS Boo, you can't wear your boat logo on the golf course. I mean, how would anybody know that it's your boat? But either way, I think a boat logo on the golf course anyway is just a little tacky. Don't use the phrase in and out, especially when leaning on a host for a lift. I don't really get that. Do you understand what that means?
No. Is it for a private plane situation?
I don't really know. So we'll skip it. We'll move on. Okay, we're getting to the very end here. Never say was invited but couldn't make it, or I've got an on but haven't found time when someone asks if you played Cypress or equivalent.
Either you have or you haven't. I don't need to hear all the BS.
I remember growing up as a kid, my dad retired from the Air Force, and he had accrued a bunch of leave, so basically PTO, and he had saved it up because he wanted to move to Georgia after he retired. But he wanted to do the move in time for my sister and I to start school in the new town, basically, coming out of the summer. And this must have been like April or something because it was right before it closed. But he got invited to play Augusta, and he declined it because he was going to have to give up like a couple of days of his leave because he was still in the Air Force. And that would have basically pushed back the move by like a week, and then we wouldn't have made it for the start of school. So he declined an invite to Augusta to let us get to our school when I was in 7th grade, which is hat tip to dad. Like that's a real dad move.
But that's crazy. And
that's
I can't
crazy.
believe he did that.
I can't believe he did that either. And obviously very grateful. Okay, here we go. So So no surfboards in the locker room. I'm not sure I know what this means. Is this a cocaine reference? I don't really know.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. So here are some classifications, right? So this is kind of examples of different class of guests. So there's the member, there's the affiliate, there's guest, and there's tourist. And so to kind of like qualify yourself, here's what he would define as a guest in good standing. Any combination of the following: multiple member guest invites to your father's club, multiple member guest invites. So I think this is a hypothetical of like, just say National Golf Links, for example. Like if you've played there a few times, you would be considered a guest in good standing if you get multiple invites to that club. So you've been to the member guests, multiple, whatever. Another example would be if it's your father's club or mother's club, 6+ rounds a year, official or unofficial reciprocity, annual vacation destination, multiple staff members affectionately call you by your nickname. That's guest in good standing. So then the next one is just a plain guest. It means you played with a member.
Fair enough.
The next one is tourist. That would be an unaccompanied round.
Mm-hmm. So that happens at Cypress all the time, is that you don't have to go out with a member, but a member needs to put you up to go out.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were tourists at Ohoopee.
Yeah.
Big time tourists.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that too. Okay, here's another. So a guest in good standing. Would you consider yourself a guest in good standing at any courses?
Yeah, at my father's course at
There you
Tehama, and then my mom's course. What about you?
I think I would maybe say Bel Air is one. Just
Okay.
played at Bel Air a bunch and know a bunch of people there. Maybe National Golf Links, only because I go to this thing there every year. That's not like a official outing, but I've been invited several times, so I feel like I'm in good standing there. Which is two good ones, I guess. Okay, here we go. Never ever arrive before your host. I think that actually is an actual rule at some places. So at Peachtree Golf Club, for example, they really, like, if you're going to go play there, they really tell you like not to arrive before your host. And so that sort of can be awkward because you don't want to be late either. So you're just kind of like hanging out outside the gate. Or I've gone in and like sat in my car for a while. I mean, I've been there. This has really happened to me at Peachtree specifically, but I've been at Peachtree and it's basically been like, completely empty in the parking lot. I've just sat there until some other car drove up, and then I could get out. Okay, so tip liberally, but only after checking with the host to understand protocols. We talked about tipping before on the show. I think that most of these top courses don't really love you tipping staff, but definitely caddies and valets, things like that. But definitely, you got to ask, because some of these older places, they don't want you pulling out cash. So that's just a good one to ask about. No non-golf logos on a golf course unless you've played for the team. So this is like, the example is a Braves hat with a Shinnecock logo violates Rule 47 and 37. So you can't wear a sports team logo unless you've been a player for the team. So Ken Griffey Jr. totally fine, can wear that Mariners hat on the golf course, but you and I couldn't.
Got it.
Okay, and then we're down to the last two. So number 48, never wear Masters gear to the Tour Championship, which is in Atlanta.
Okay.
Again, a hint that Johnny Chop might be an Atlanta guy.
Yeah.
And you can see why. A lot of Georgians, they'll go to both tournaments. You can't wear your Masters gear to the Tour Championship. And then number 49, don't give Berkmans to your pilot.
What does that mean?
Berkman's at Augusta, which is the ultra premium hospitality. It's like $10,000 a ticket or something like that. And you get a Berkman's pass. They're non-transferable. Don't give it to your pilot of your private jet, because they're going to get caught and you'll get it revoked, I'm assuming.
Got it. Wow, that's some insider baseball stuff right there.
Whoa.
I agree with most of them. The guest of good standing, guest and tourist is very funny to me, and I've never thought about it like that. But now when you bring it up, I'm like, yep, that's 100% right. But yeah, I think also the don't show up before your host is a really good one. Yeah, sit in your car and text him and say, hey, I'm in my car. Just tell me when you get here, and I'll walk in with you.
Yeah, and like some places, it's just good to ask about that, because some places they don't mind. Like you could show up, like at Lakeside, you can show up and go hit balls. I mean, normally I'll be like flying in, and so there'll be people at the range that if they're guests, and I'll just say, hey, go check in at the pro shop, go to the range, do whatever. But yeah, there's some places they don't want you kind of walking around unaccompanied. So I think that's a great one to ask about. And then the tipping policy too, like we talked about, you really it is very specific to different clubs. Like there's a notable club in LA that's like absolutely no tipping anywhere ever except for caddies. And then at other places, you get good service, you pull out a $20 bill and make someone's day.
I love it. Well, this has been a very fun list, and I was thinking about having more ways to be interactive with our community, all of the golf sickos out there. And so I think one way that would be really cool is if you have a question or a statement or a comment like on this, why don't you DM the Vanity Index podcast on Instagram, make a video and send that, and then we will play them on the show and answer them or, talk about it. Like if you disagree with this, I want to hear from you guys about that kind of stuff. So please feel free to use that as a place to throw comments, concerns, and questions.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, another great episode, Wells. This is a blast. Can't wait to finally see you in person after your 67 days on the road filming reality television, and then now your golf trips that you keep going on. But yeah, I think maybe we got 1 or 2 more episodes that we're going to do remote, and then we'll be back in the studio together. We got a bunch of amazing guests lined up. It's going to be an amazing summer. Hopefully, every one of our listeners getting to, days are getting longer. You're starting to play more golf. So just be wary of what logos you're wearing.
Unless you're a Skratch.
Unless you're a Skratch, which everybody who listens to this podcast, let's be honest, they're probably Skratch. So none of those might apply. But send them to your friends at least.
And also, if you know who Johnny Chop, please get us his information because we need him on the show immediately.
Awesome, buddy.
All right. Now, this is a fun one, man.